What's up, Buff Nation, and welcome in to the Buff Blitz back on Wednesday night here with Buff News Weekly Live. My name is Russ Dornish. I'm one of your hosts. My other co-host, David Talks Buffs, will be here in just a moment, but we're going to go ahead and get the stream started until he arrives because we've got a lot to talk about over the next 50 or so minutes, what we're looking at for tonight's show. Of course, some housekeeping as we go into the show where you're watching the stream later on. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And also a big reminder, we will have a massive show for you tomorrow night over here on Buffs News Weekly. Philip Dukes will be live on the channel at 6 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow evening. So make sure you guys are tuned in, asking your questions in the chat. I'll do my best to get those off to Philip Dukes tomorrow night. Portal questions, recruiting questions, anything that you can think of with that. And we will have that all coming at you tomorrow night at 6 p.m. So welcome in. See who's going after all the top dogs in the portal. The portal is jumping, guys. The portal is jumping. Absolutely ridiculous. There has just been so much that has happened in the last 24, 48 hours. So, that it's just something that we've got to really dive into. And it's only going to get more, guys. This is just the beginning. Okay. Obviously, there is 20 days that, we have until the portal ends. But it's hopping right now. Okay, it's hopping right now. So a couple things that we want to start off with tonight. Probably the biggest news of college football today I do want to talk about just really quickly. I want to get your guys' opinions if you're in the chat or if you watch this later on and want to comment down below. I want to know what you guys think about the massive news that is Bill Belichick signing up to coach the University of North Carolina Tar Heels, getting a 3-year, $30 million contract to coach the team. And it's just an absolutely unbelievable turn of events for a program like North Carolina. However, this is where I want to get your guys' opinion. Do you think that Coach Belichick will translate to college football? Now, my comments and my opinion on this are, I think it's not going to be as successful as they think. Okay. I think the problem is with Coach Belichick is the culture that he brings, the connection to his players. It was really funny today. It was either today or yesterday. They asked all three of his ex-players, Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, and Julian Edelman, if Belichick would make a good college coach. And they all emphatically said, absolutely not. That he will not be a good college coach. He will not translate to the college game. That connection with the, younger players is just not going to be there. This comment right here, old school Bill versus new age Dion. See, I think Dion is also old school, but Bill Belichick is even more hardcore old school than even Dion is. Dion at least has that player connection because of who he is and what he did as a player. Bill Belichick as a coach, I don't know if he resonates as much with the younger generations. I really don't. Like, there will be players that are connected to that idea and would like to see it out and find out about it. But there's going to be a lot of stuff in regards to this that I don't see it working out. Okay, I really, really just don't. And it looks like so far, a lot of you guys agree. Brady B, last time Belichick was around college football was when he was playing in 1974. Aces walk, disaster waiting to happen. Bill's out of touch with the youth. Bill's going to give them a professional mentality, getting them primed for the league. I get that, but it's even more than that, okay? His Patriot way that he was doing was even more than what professional football players do. My point is, are young players going to be fine with that sort of really high standard of rules. So as we get into this news with Bill Belichick, I'm going to go ahead and bring in David because I want to get his thoughts on this, David. We're already into the news. Of course, the massive news of the day, Bill Belichick, 3 years, $30 million to coach UNC. David, we've just been chatting about whether or not this is going to be an absolute disaster. I'm of the opinion that it's going to be an absolute blowback.
What? Okay, yeah. Wait, whoa, man.
And all the comments are agreeing with me. We have a lot of them going right.
I think it's going to be, man, ye of little faith. Yeah, this is going to be great because I think that this is going to be awesome. Okay, now, what do you mean like it's going to be a failure? I could totally see North Carolina winning an ACC title as soon as next year.
I think they can win more games, but I think they're going to have a hard time keeping players because I don't think the kids are going to like the way that he does things. I think it's going to be like way too extreme. I'm going off of also what Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and Rob Gronkowski said today, which they said it's going to be a colossal failure. All three of them, they were asked, is he going to be a good college coach? And they said, absolutely not, because they said that his way of doing things is the worst thing ever. They said that you hate playing for him. And in college, when there's no contracts forcing you to stay, once you don't like what's going on, you're hopping in that portal. So that's why my opinion was that.
All right, here we go. This is our first take moment. Yeah, no, I love this hire. It's going to be awesome. And I think that Bill Belichick understands what he's getting into. I can't wait to see the staff that he's putting together. But, I think that, Prime has laid the groundwork. He has taken all the criticism of, trying to do the pro thing at the college level, be a pipeline to the pros, and doing it in his way. Bill Belichick, I think that he's enjoyed his time off. I think he's really learned a lot. Also, I think that, he's learned to loosen up a little bit over this year, being away from the Patriots, all that sorts of stuff. I've loved seeing his personality kind of open up over this past year in the media, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be successful. Now, we'll see. I'll have a better idea. I do want to say I want to hold some space for me to flip-flop on this if I don't like his staff or for some reason he's not recruiting. But if in today's day and age, Russ, players go to the highest bidder pretty much. So I think he's going to get players. It seems like UNC is really, putting up the money to commit to it. And I think it's going to be really exciting for college football. I want Bill Belichick to be successful. If it's not, it's only a 3-year contract. It's whatever. But I would be a lot more nervous if he were going into the SEC or something like that. But it's the ACC. Who says he can't win successfully there? Again, I think a lot of this is going to be determined by the staff that he puts together. But guys, probably his two most successful coaches off of his own, Bill Belichick's coaching tree. Bill O'Brien, who I think might be a better college coach than NFL coach, and Jed Fish, who's a pretty darn good college football coach. So maybe this might have been, his calling all along, maybe after Tom Brady left the Patriots. Maybe this should have been his thing. So that's my argument. But I love it. And Prime should be sitting back, smiling, feeling amazing about himself. Because when you got Bill Belichick saying, you know what, I'm going to follow the Prime model and kind of do this thing. Like, what better form of flattery than imitation? And that's what we're getting here.
Yeah, no, I love this comment because I think this is more maybe what my opinion would be on this. I do think the players he's going to get the most out of them. My question is, it's going to be hard to attract those really top level players that could get them over the top. But I think he can overperform with a lesser roster that he might end up with for guys who may not want to go or who may want to leave. So I do think that in the end, yes, will UNC probably be a better football team overall? Probably. Like you said, do they have probably a good chance in the ACC? Especially if Miami eventually, takes off and leaves? Absolutely. But I'm going to be very, very interested to hear and see kind of how this unfolds. What happens the first time when, Bill Belichick has his morning meeting where he just trashes the kids for an hour. And that comes out of the news because Coach Prime doesn't even do half that. And he gets in the news for, telling kids to enter the portal. Can you imagine what's going to happen with Bill Belichick? Like that's what Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski said. He said he's going to literally tell some kid, you are absolutely terrible. Get out, go find somewhere else to play. Like
Nah, Russ. He's going to get the privilege of not having those hit pieces written about him. That's just how it's going to be.
Yeah, no, I get it. So yeah, that's of course the massive news of today in college football. Figured we would chime in before we get into, college football and what's going on obviously with the Buffs, because man, the transfer portal is hopping. So I thought we'd go through some of the newer stuff today that has kind of occurred. Some of the different players that have been offered, some players that have announced they're coming to visit. We obviously have the very big news, which is we already have a crystal ball to a player in the portal, which is, kind of a big get. So I figure we start there. The big news of the day, of course, is about the visit this weekend, which seems to have a few players coming to visit this weekend. But Alabama defensive lineman Jaheim Otis, who was ranked one of the top portal defensive linemen, he has since dramatically slipped down the On3 transfer portal ratings.
Yes, let's go.
Kind of tells you exactly what was about to happen, but he has now been crystal balled by like 5 or 6 people to be coming to see you. He's coming to visit this weekend. David, I know you've been talking about him a little bit this week. What are your thoughts on Jaheim Otis and how he fits in and the fact that the Buffs are getting a player of his caliber?
Okay. Well, I think on my thumbnail, I can't remember if I uploaded it for this stream. I think it says we got the meats. That's like we're bringing in some serious beef, baby. And it's not it's pretty lean, man. But we got some pot roast coming over here too. Jaheim Otis, 6'5", 330 pounds, right? Something like that, 325 pounds. Yes, please. Now, he's played a few years at Alabama. I think he's played there 3 years. He had a redshirt year, I think his second year. This is what's like really interesting to me about him. And I was just on B Watt's show. Sorry, I'm running a little tardy, but I was talking to him about this player as well. And where are the stats to this guy? I had him on here, but listen to these stats that he had from the interior as a true freshman in the SEC. In 2022, 27 total tackles and 1 missed tackle. That's insane. That's insane. For context, guys, Chidozie Nwankwo, I think, had 25 tackles for us this year. Shane Cokes, I think, had like 18. So now you haven't seen the production be as high since his true freshman year. So I have a lot of questions on why that is. Personnel, is it coaching? They changing the technique? Like all of that. Is he being asked to do something different? But by just looking at his freshman year stats alone, they're eye-popping. And he would be an immediate help on this defensive line, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I have 24/7 pulled up. I know that I got a comment from somebody saying that he would have dropped in the rankings. 24/7 didn't. He's the number 1 defensive lineman in the portal right now. A 4-star transfer. Obviously, crystal balled by 24/7, crystal balled by On3. As you said, those freshman stats, I mean, those jump out. But here's where I really love this. I mean, obviously now he's going to get coached by Warren Sapp.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was a big part in guys like Shane Cokes jumping up and being into that much of a better player. So the fact that we've seen flashes from Jaheim Otis, but now you're going to come to Colorado. You're going to play in the Big 12. You're going to get coached by Coach Lewis and Coach Sapp. that tells me that he is going to have a massive impact on this team this upcoming year. And so that really excites me because, I mean, 6'5", 320 is nothing to take home at. That's pretty big. I mean, that's a lot bigger than even Chidozie Nwankwo was, because Nwankwo was a stout player. This dude is going to plug up the middle of our line and have that taken care of for the entire season. You want to run on Colorado next year, especially with the running backs that are leaving the Big 12 this year. Colorado is about to dominate the run game when it comes to defensively next year. I can't wait. It's the first big pickup of the transfer portal to us.
Yeah. What, 3 crystal balls to us or 2 and 1 to Ole Miss?
I think the Ole Miss one, I haven't seen anything on the Ole Miss one since it first occurred on there, but On 3 had one. 24/7 Tom Loy has one. Nakos, the other On 3 guy, he had one. I think Wilt Fong also did it earlier today, something like that. So I think it's happening. The other big visitor that's coming with Jaheim Otis, which I think is an absolute lock. We're his only announced visit. The connections are there. He's teammates with Julian Lewis in high school, where he had his most success. He was originally a tight end, wants to play receiver. I believe that's what I've heard is the reason he left Bama, was because they wanted to put him back to tight end. So for those people that think he's going to come in and be a tight end in Colorado, I think truthfully he's going to be wanting to be a receiver and part of that group, which I absolutely think he can do. He can come in and dominate the Big 12 with his size and ability. And that is Caleb Odom from Alabama, ex-Carrollton High School player. Dave, what are your thoughts on Odom? And do you think he's a lock to come to Colorado after his visit this weekend?
I feel like he should be a lock. I mean, like you said, all the signs are pointing towards him wanting to team up again with his old high school quarterback, Julian Lewis. You can't teach size. 6'5", 220 plus pounds. Yes, please. I don't care if you got him lining up as like a big slot. I don't care if you got him lining up outside. Like, this is going to be a tremendous red zone weapon, and really talented. A lot of athletic upside to him, obviously. And I think, we're losing 4 starters in the receiver room, right? But I think that there's a lot of good momentum with what we got going on with these certain wide receivers in the transfer portal, where I think you could see us bring in like 3 or 4 in the transfer portal again and just absolutely kill it. But if we grab Takario Davis from Arizona, 6'4" corner, I want to see 6'4" corner against 6'5" wide receiver. How about that?
That would be absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the size is there, like we keep saying. I mean, the portal is just absolutely unbelievable when it comes to receivers right now. And Colorado is in the running for pretty much every top receiver in the portal when you really look at it. So right now, I have a little spreadsheet going that's talking about all the players that have been mentioned with interest from Colorado or who have a visit scheduled already for Colorado. And so far, we have several of the top wide receivers who are interested in Colorado scheduling a visit. Of course, today we found out Eric Rivers, unbelievable tight end. I watched his tape today. Holy crud, is Eric Rivers an absolute monster at obviously playing at FIU this past year. Whether or not that, jump to the next level will be there, it probably will. I mean, he put up better numbers than even LeJontay did last year. He's a bigger receiver. He is kind of that deep ball threat. A lot of his yards and points were from deep balls that he either jumped over people, beat people with his speed. They used him on screens, tunnel screens like we did. Very the same way that I think we saw Will Shepherd used, but I think he might be even better than what Will Shepherd was when he came in. Based on what I'm seeing stats-wise and just his sure catching ability and all that. What are your thoughts on Eric Rivers and what he could bring to Colorado? And it looks like he will be coming. What was the date that we have? I think he's the weekend of the 20th. Yeah,
weekend of the 20th. He's just a dog, dude. He's just a dog. 31 receptions his freshman year, 340-something yards. He doubled that, put up 61 or 62 catches this past year, but then like 3 times the amount of yardage off of just doubling the catches. Like what, 1160, 160 something. Yeah, like 1,160 something yards, bunch of touchdowns too. Yeah, you got to be really good to have that sort of production on, again, 62 catches. Insane efficiency. And I would be thrilled to have him out here. Again, a lot of really intriguing athletes. We got, Russ, what was really special about this wide receiver room this year is that we had a lot of different types of receivers. You got the speedy guys, you got the gadget guys, you got the traditional ex NFL wide receiver guys, you got the slot guys, right?
Yep.
So we have to kind of rebuild all that again now that so many guys are leaving for the NFL. And yes, bring in a guy like Caleb Odom, who's 6'5". Bring in a guy here like Eric Rivers, who can do a little bit of everything and is just like an insane, producer. Like the dude just puts up numbers. So yeah, and then guys like Draylon are true freshmen. They're gonna, take another step. But I want to see us have a plethora of veteran proven weapons for Juju to rely on.
And I think we're going to give that to him. I mean, we saw the receivers that have already left, right? So we have the space to replace them. I think we might even see a couple more receivers from Colorado enter the portal. Not any of the guys that we really, don't want to see enter the portal. I think we're good with those guys. But, I could see some of those kind of mid-tier guys leave. We've got, obviously, Eric Rivers. We are also going to be getting a visit from Joseph Williams, Tulsa wide receiver, another big-bodied, speedy, big catching wide. Like, that's what I've noticed so far, Dave. All of the targets for receiver really that we're looking at are big targets. It's not those smaller receivers that we got last year, or the year before. It's not Jimmy Horn, speedster, short. LeJounte, speed, agility, short. They're looking.
We recruited those guys. Sorry.
Yeah, but we're looking at much bigger, stronger guys. You have to wonder, maybe if we don't end up with a bunch of the tight ends we're going after, maybe somebody transfers over there. I don't know what the plan is, but the players they're going after are just so different than what we've seen in the past. You have to wonder if that's kind of a sign of the kind of play that we're going to see with the offense going into next year with Julian Lewis, the kind of, what they're trying to offer to the team. I really love this. It's just looking unbelievable. So that weekend of the 20th is going to be massive. Yeah.
And I want to point this out too, Russ. Now that we got a few cycles to kind of look back on with how we've recruited the wide receiver position, Prime, since being here at CU, we've had a lot of success finding production that's coming up from the G5 ranks. We've just done it. And so I think that's kind of been it's not necessarily Moneyball because these guys are obviously still highly regarded, but in terms of the top dudes, we're not necessarily going out and paying, highest dollar for a guy like AD Mitchell in the portal, that happened a couple of years ago. That's going from one blue blood that's looking for a payday, obviously, probably going to another blue blood. Our strategy is a little bit different where we've kind of proven that, credit to Corey Phillips, Rispres, all those guys, that they can find really, really good wide receivers at the G5 ranks or maybe at the Power 4 where they're not getting a ton of, as many snaps or as many looks as they'd want. And they've come to CU and had career years. Who are all the dudes that have transferred up from the G5 with CU and been really successful? We have we have Jimmy, we have Zay. Who else we got? Is that basically it? Oh, that's
I mean, if you want to count
guys.
If you want to count running backs too, I mean, obviously, Augustov looked pretty decent coming from Where did he come from? Did he come from
No,
Arkansas?
he was SEC guy. He's Arkansas.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right with the G5 guys for sure. That really, I think that's kind of the goal, is rather than getting guys who may not have performed at that big level, getting guys who have production and show that they can have production and just need that spotlight.
Yeah.
And I think that's really who they're going after. And everybody knows Colorado has the biggest spotlight. You come here and you do the stats that you're doing at these other schools, you are going to be in the conversation for a top 1 or 2 round draft pick for the NFL when that time comes. So it makes sense that we're going to be obviously interested in all of them. The last wide receiver, of course, that has put us in their top 6 now is Casey Concepcion. Notice there is no Kansas State. A lot of people thought that it was a for sure lock for Kansas State because of his brother going there. I think he wants to go where he is going to get that draw and that pull. He is a top receiver in the country. His name is not a household name until he's entered the portal and started, entertaining these teams. And now he's the talk of the country. He's getting a taste of what that's going to look like. Now, the question is, does Colorado close the deal on him? I think out of all the receivers we're looking at, I think he's the toughest one. I think he might end up at Bama, if I'm being honest. I think that's where he is kind of leaning, staying in the SEC, staying on that. Obviously, if Texas A&M's in your top 6, you know what that means, right? You know that the money is there when it comes to Texas A&M. It's where receivers go to get paid and then leave. So I could see that as being a potential option for him as well. So I don't think that this is one that fans should really get too attached to. The other ones, however, your Tulsa, your FIU, Odom, I think those guys are probably going to be locks to come to Colorado and fill out the wide receiver room as we move into the next couple of weeks.
I think so too. Yeah, I think you just would have seen probably a little bit more direct momentum with Concepcion if that was gonna, come to fruition, so to speak. So yeah, nice for us to be in the top 6. Like, that's cool. But yeah, I just my instinct tells me that it ain't gonna work out. We got these other guys coming in for visits that I'm very, very excited about. I mean, that guy from Tulsa, whatever his name, AAC Offensive Freshman of the Year. Like, come on. There's plenty of wide receiver talent, and we don't always need to go shopping for the top dollar guy. How about we go get the top dollar guy that is in the trenches? How about that?
Yeah. That's a great transition into, because like you said, the title of this is We've Got the Meat. Well, the big boys are starting to pile in. But first, we've got a super check from Sonny Robinson for $1.99. Braden Russell is that dog at running back. We need that. I have no idea who that is. I have not heard him on a radar. I will have to look him up. Dave, I'm assuming you haven't heard him either since your eyes perked up.
Yeah, you're
Raylan Russell.
I feel like you're more plugged into the portal than I am, but let me try and find
I've
it.
not heard anything running back news yet, guys. I will tell you guys that as far as Colorado's, interest in running back and linebacker, that one's been kind of up in the air. There's been some players that have been on their radar, but nothing official just yet when it comes to running back. So, and J27 says that he's already withdrawn from the portal and gone back to Arkansas. So if that's the case, then maybe, it's not even something. Now, when it comes to running back, real quick, the one I would say I would love to have, well, obviously I've already talked about Ahmad Hardy. I don't think we're going to get him. I think he is going for the bag and he's going to get paid. Quentin Joyner from USC, I think he would be an absolute dog and a steal to bring him in. So there are targets and guys there, but I don't think that is the focus right now. I think the focus is the big boys in the trenches. Obviously, we talked about Jaheim Otis. Let's talk about our future starting center. Of course, that would maybe be Joshua Bates from Oklahoma, the Durango High School grad who went on to play at Oklahoma, started games, by the way. The only reason that he only started a couple games this year was because of injury. Okay, I've looked into it. I've looked into it more. He was their starting center, was supposed to be their starting center, ran into some injury problems this year, has a lot of eligibility still left. I believe it's either 2 or 3 years So Bates is he has to be a lock. He is a legacy. I will say I watched Matt McChesney today. He said that Bates is coming. He just pretty much came out and said
okay,
that
great.
because he's one of his guys. What are your thoughts on Joshua Bates coming in, and do you think he could unfortunately push Cash Cleveland and the wonderful story that is back to the bench for a little bit of time?
Hey, the only thing I'm loyal to is getting the best play. So, right now, hey, got a lot of love for Cash Cleveland. I will, whether he's starting or not. Right now, I think he enters as the guy we should be expecting to start. Again, he could beat all these other guys out. He very well could. I mean, even On3 had him as an All-American. Imagine that On3 giving him credit. So, but I love this. Yeah, come back home. We need serious depth. Right now, if Cash Cleveland goes down, who is our backup center? Yeah, I got no idea. We need true depth, and we're also bringing in another center/guard. He has played guard in the past from University of Louisiana Monroe, and his name, I think I had him in the thumbnail of my video. I lost his name. It's right here, Carter Miller. He's got a little bit of a belly, so I mean that's cool. And yeah, we got the meats. We're definitely targeting interior and tackle. Really, guys, I want us to build an iron curtain in front of Julian Lewis for him to have the best offensive line possible. And you're only going to get that if you continue to bring in the best offensive linemen that you can find, regardless of if they're better or, worse than your offensive lineman that you got right now. This is not, what do you want to say? Like, this is not rec league. Not everybody,
Nope.
Deserves or is entitled to playing time. We need to show loyalty behind Julian Lewis, that we're loyal to him and giving him the best offensive line to play behind. That means, hey, even bringing in competition at left tackle now, you're not going to find a guy in the portal better than Jordan Seaton. So that's just not going to happen. Everybody on this team could transfer out. And I'm not freaking out as long as we got Jordan Seaton. That's how highly I think of him. But outside of that, these next 4 starting offensive line positions, Russ, I'm not loyal to any of these guys that we got right now. I do love them, but I just want to see us be better. Like, can we have an above average offensive line in the conference this next year in run blocking?
That, and obviously protecting Julian Lewis. We need to continue to improve on the offensive line in both ways, both targets. Some other guys that we are obviously targeting, I'll let you guys know, just guys that are on the radar of Colorado, could be coming for a visit, could be somebody to keep an eye on. Obviously, Jordan White's coming in for a visit from Liberty. He would be a great get for guard. I could easily see him come start day one at left or right guard. We need guards because, as we know, that was probably our weakest link in the offensive line at times. We rotated that position so much. Khalil Benson, Justin Mayers, Tyler Brown. We were constantly experimenting at that spot. So it's obvious that they're going to look for that. Tackle, we've got guys like Carver from Kansas State that has the Colorado connections that I think is being talked about as right tackle. There's a few others. Some guys, like I said, outside of Jordan White. Cam Dewberry is another one that I've heard might be on Colorado's radar a little bit. He is from Texas A&M. He is the 8th ranked inside offensive lineman in the portal. 6'4", 330 pounds. He's somebody that has been kind of coming up in some conversations a little bit to potentially just be on the radar. They're looking at him. He's another one to look at. But yeah, the tackle spot too, there's a lot of offensive line meat in the portal right now, guys. They are going to fill out this offensive line, and it's going to be even better than it was last year. Not to mention, think about this, Dave. Jordan Seaton's going to get another year in the strength and conditioning program. He's only going to get better. Like the next 2, like this year, and especially next year when it's his junior year and it's his draft year. Holy crud, think of the animal that Jordan Seaton is going to be on the left side for Colorado. That is why a lot of people have us in the playoffs next year, but maybe the year after being that year that Colorado might be one of the, top 10 teams in the country, favorites to maybe make a push in the playoffs and see what happens. But you have to look at that. You have to look at that kind of development that might happen if, we start building this up just a little bit more and getting those depth pieces on the offensive line. Oh man, I'm really excited about what's happening right now.
Yes. Offensive line, I think, is going to be a big improvement, man.
It's going to be a massive part. But then, of course, let's go to the defensive side of the ball, because the defensive trenches are the ones that people are really, really asking about. Of course, we have Jaheim Otis. He is one that's being talked about. A couple others. One that's been mentioned in the chat a lot, I want to go ahead and squash right now. Okay. Bear Alexander is not coming to Colorado. Okay. All of you people who say you want Bear Alexander, he is not coming. I will just go ahead and tell you that it's not happening. The team has moved on. We're good. Just don't get your hopes up on Bear Alexander. But we did offer Gabriel Lightfoot, another defensive lineman that is looking rather stout, rather nice. Remind me, he's
Fresno State.
Yeah, but is he an interior or is he an edge?
Interior. Okay. He's about 300 pounds, I think.
Okay. Well, that's one to look at. He had some really good. He's probably one of the best players on Fresno State, if we're being honest. Coach Barry always coming in with the information here. 6'3", 295, 37 tackles, 1 sack from Fresno State. And he will be visiting Colorado. So that's another one. He could be a commit this weekend as well. So that kind of makes sense that he's going to be visiting. Dave, is there any other defensive linemen that you have on your radar?
One guy I was talking about on B-Watt's show, UNC interior defensive lineman Travis Shaw, 6'5", 330 pounds. Yeah, he's got that kind of same type of size as Jaheim Otis, so why not get a few of those athletic archetypes on the team? And yeah, he's got a few years experience as well. He's been playing college since 2022. Part-time player, hasn't started at UNC, but hey, if he's a guy that can even just come in and spell somebody like Jaheim Otis, that's always really nice.
Yep, I have also heard that he's on their radar, somebody of interest. 8th ranked interior defensive lineman, 330 pounds, Dave. 6'5", 330. Like, between him and Otis, they are going to fill up the entire middle of the field. You're not going to be running down the throats of Colorado next year if we have those guys in here. Not to mention, linebackers should be lining up to come play for us if we get those guys, because they're going to make their jobs that much more easy. Now, outside of those interior guys, is there anybody on your radar as far as edge players? Because I have one that has been offered by Colorado and looks to be kind of a player that we could see commit to Colorado here fairly soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's like any interesting names that I've looked at that I feel like are legitimate, but yeah, no, not really. So what you got for me, Russ?
The big one is Kasim Moore, Elon edge. So lower level of football.
That's FCS.
He is set to make a visit to Colorado, it sounds like. If not this weekend. He had 51 tackles, 12 tackles for a loss, and 6 sacks this past season at edge. Okay, so he is somebody to really look at that could be in play for Colorado, obviously, with the chance of him coming on a visit. That is, I think, what we talked about, Dave. Those guys at those lower levels that have performed at that level that could make that jump, maybe not perform at the same level and have, 6, 7 sacks again, but, 4 sacks, part of the rotation with Sam Okunlola, with Tajay McCoy, with the guys that we're going to be bringing back on the edge. We still have a good room when it comes to that edge. Not to mention, we'll have some other players coming in from the high school recruiting classes that might make a little bit of a dent this year. The big one for me is, Keaton Wade obviously coming back. I think he's got a starting spot on this team, and it's obviously why he has not entered the portal with his brother, who did enter the portal, which kind of makes sense. You probably can break it up.
Yeah, it's interesting because like edge is one of those spots where I don't really feel like we need, like, of course, if we're going to find an amazing deal and bring in, an NFL draft potential talent, you got to do that. But again, in this era, you kind of got to pick and choose where you're going to want to divert money. I think that we got some different priorities right now in this portal just based on who we're bringing in for visits. And the edge room, like even with Dayon Hayes hitting the portal, like I still think it's our best, deepest position right now. And you got guys, like you said, Keaton Wade is going to have a bigger role next year. London Merritt, I think that he's a guy that plays his true freshman year. So yeah, seeing somebody like, the player from Elon that you just brought up, what's his name again?
Kazim.
Yes. That's awesome. If he can fit in and be part of, the 2-3 deep rotation, that's wonderful. But right now I'm not expecting any big splashes at the edge room because we've done a really good job of putting the room together right now.
Yeah. We are definitely really solid there, and I think we're just looking for some more, rotational pieces from that. A couple of, because this is going to be the big one, okay? Oh, and just FYI, Dave, you did have a super chat here.
Oh.
Chairman A, $5. Man, we need 5 or 6 O linemen and D linemen. Bro, we have enough wide receivers. We can get 1 or 2 more if we need, but trenches, tight end. Don't worry, Chairman. The trenches and tight end are a priority, but you're always going to have receivers who are going to want to come to play in Colorado. So, you're not going to say no to that.
We're still going to throw the ball around.
Yeah. we still are. That's why we went and got Julian Lewis. Okay. What if we didn't want to throw the ball? We could have just kept with Ryan Staub. Okay. If we wanted to just kind of have a, whatever offense, we would have just stuck there. It's obvious that Coach Prime always wants to improve when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, the last big position that, you always think it's Coach Prime. You should be easy to get these kind of guys to come to your team. That's, of course, defensive back. The big one that a lot of people are talking about, I believe, is Tacario Davis.
Yes.
Hitting the portal. He's somebody that a lot of people are looking at, thinking that he could be a target for Colorado at defensive back. What are your thoughts? Have you at all paid attention to Tacario Davis and what he was going to be?
I want Tacario Davis. I want this team looking as big, tall, menacing as possible. I don't want to look like the little giants out there. No. I want to look like a team that's going to rip you in half. And when you have 6'4" corners coming out there, I'm about it. Now, Tacario Davis, imagine him with Colton Hood and DJ McKinney. Yes, please. So, guy can tackle as well. Obviously, you got to be a physical corner when you're 6'4". I think only has like 1 career interception, so that's probably why he's not a 6'4" wide receiver. Maybe he's just got hands of stone. Maybe that's just the thing. But from what I have seen, watching Arizona over the last couple of years, like that dude can cover. And never going to say no to a 6'4" corner. Just not. So, yeah. Bring him in here. I think, again, Russ, who do we kind of have at cornerback outside of Colton Hood and DJ McKinney? Like, we need to bring in probably 3 corners at least. I don't want to depend on any of these super young, 3-star freshman dudes. Have them get the luxury of having no pressure on them and just coming out and being a diamond in the rough, earning it. I don't want to put that pressure on them right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. That is pretty much all we have. I mean, for the most part. So yeah, Hood's going to be really good. DJ McKinney, he's coming back. So we technically have McKinney, Hood, coming back.
Yeah.
So we need somebody. I hope we go after somebody, big time. I know the other name that kind of got brought up today, but everything I've heard is he's not really on the radar of Colorado is Charles Brantley from Michigan State.
Yeah.
He's another one. He's the 6th ranked. By the way, Takario Davis is the number 1 ranked corner in the portal ratings right now.
What about the dude from Northern Arizona? He's coming out for a visit, right?
Oh, shoot. I can't remember his name. Somebody in the chat hopefully can, let's see.
Maybe I got it bookmarked.
Oh, yeah, this is another good one I forgot about. Where is it? I lost it right as I was about to click on it. Don't you love when that happens? The guy from Virginia Tech is another one, but I haven't heard anything. Delane, Mansour Delane from Virginia Tech. He's pretty darn good. Coach Barry did bring up Charles Brantley, but from what I've heard, he's not actually on the radar of Colorado. That was kind of an on-3 thing. Something to see and look at, but anybody got who it is? Jackson State wide receivers or corners, another one.
Let me look this up here.
Northern Arizona
corner. I think he's like 5.
Oh, I know who it is. Yeah, it's Alex McLaughlin. I had him pulled up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, he was offered by Colorado. Yeah, Alexander McLaughlin, offered by Colorado, DB, Northern Arizona University.
2-time All-American at that level.
So another potential upgrade there to bring him in to Colorado. There's going to be a lot, guys. We don't have to worry about it. I'm telling you guys, don't panic. You got Coach Prime as your coach. You're going to be fine at the DB position, okay? We will get people to come in. We got DJ McKinney last year. Colton Hood was a late ad, guys. He was a spring portal ad, and he was set to be the starting corner at Auburn, and we pulled him away from there. So don't worry about that, guys. It's going to be okay. But when it comes to what to expect now in the next couple of weeks, because I got to get going here in just a moment, but the 20th is the big weekend. And I also noticed today, if you guys didn't already see, Phillip Dukes interviewed Mantrez Walker. He said that a lot of the freshmen are going to be on campus the 19th. Is that just so funny that the big recruiting weekend, when a majority of these players are coming to visit, is the weekend of the 20th? I think not, because that most likely means that Julian Lewis is going to be here as well. So my guess, David, is that that's what we're targeting, is for everybody to come in that weekend of the 20th to get to taste and see what this team is going to be going forward, with everybody coming together and being there together. So I think next weekend is going to be the massive weekend. We're going to get a couple announcements this weekend, I think, with Jaheim Otis at minimum, Odom maybe, maybe a couple of other guys. But next weekend is the one to watch for. Do you think that's going to be kind of the goal here? Because it's just looking like, majority of the players, and I can let them know who's coming on the 20th.
Yeah. This is how we work. We don't usually bring players out for visits unless there's a lot of momentum there. So that's something to keep in mind. And remember this time last year in December, we had initially like a group of 10 to 15 guys come out of there and visit. And I think we had, 90% of these guys sign. So we have a great closing rate once they're on campus, once they're visiting. So yeah, we'll get everybody together that way. I got such a blue tongue. They can get around each other. They can start getting excited, all that, feel the vibes, feel the camaraderie, get the synergy going, all that. And then they all do it together. They all commit, sign, do it all. That's the strategy. You got to continue to lean into that family atmosphere. But yeah, I would probably say, 85, 90% of the guys that we're going to bring in, like at a minimum, this next weekend, they're going to be Buffs. That's just kind of percentage wise how it's worked out.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm going to be tracking it. I'm going to be tracking as many players as I can that come on a visit who do commit, so we can get a percentage of what we're looking at. Another player that I completely forgot about that is coming the weekend of the 20th, Tafiq Baird. safety. He's another one that I think is going to be good. Another guy that you guys need to keep an eye out on that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about him, TJ Metcalf.
Yeah.
TJ Metcalf, another safety that I think could be a big play. Having a backfield of TJ Metcalf and Tafik would be unbelievable. I think that'd be a great transition from Cam and Shiloh. I think that TJ Metcalf, to me, I think he's everything that we wanted Shiloh to be in a, complete safety, so to speak. And so I think that he would be a great fit. I'd be excited to see him come. Real quick, got a few super chats I want to cover before we get here to the end. Q Thou, for our kicker who committed last night to you, Dave, the $5, of course. We got our first 5-star kicker to commit to Colorado, and I saw how excited you were about that last night.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Tao. I appreciate it. Yeah, let me give a shout out here to Elliot Arnold, aka our big booter. That's right. Does he have the stones to hit game winners in the number 69? We'll have to find out. I think he does. But Elliot Arnold, young man, some business advice for you from a CU Leeds MBA. Put yourself out there. You got to create iconic memories.
Yep.
You're gonna sell jerseys if you pick that number, young man. Earn that bread.
Super chat from Ron Alexander. Why get so many guys? We have receivers like Hodge and linebackers like Jalen Wester, safety like Ben. I think you meant DBs. Hodge isn't coming back, by the way. These guys will nerve Rooksy if we're always looking. Here's the thing. You can never have enough guys. I think you said it best, Dave. This is not Pee-wee or, recreation sports. You're always looking for someone to replace you. It's a fact of life at professional sports, competitive sports. The coach's job is to replace you. It's your job to step up to the plate and make sure that doesn't happen. So if the players believe that they're going to be the ones playing and be the starters, they will stay and compete. Otherwise, they're going to go find somewhere else to play. Would you agree with that kind of sentiment on why we're looking at so many players at some of these positions when we already have quote unquote starters?
That mentality of, well, we got this guy and this guy is exactly what led us to 1-11. Yeah. Like you can't be satisfied. And yeah, like Jalen Wester. Okay. I know some people think he's a starting level linebacker here. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think he's better in kind of a part-time spell role in this core, but I understand that. But let's say Jalen Wester earns that starting position right now. If he goes down, I think we have 2 scholarship or 3 scholarship linebackers on the roster, one of them being Trevor Woods and the other being underclassmen. Like we need probably 4 guys in here, experienced.
Exactly. So, guys, we're always going to look to bring in more guys. Other super chat, Gabe Powers from Ohio State, massive upside at linebacker. I know we didn't talk too much about linebacker. There's a bunch of linebackers that we might be looking at that could be on our radar. Trotter from West Virginia is one of them. Obviously, we talked about Travis Shaw from North Carolina. He's actually listed as a linebacker on everything. So, technically linebacker instead of edge, but who knows on that. Gabe Powers, I'll have to look into. A couple of really quick things, by the way, updates. The quarterbacks are going absolutely crazy right now, which makes me feel kind of good about Caden Salter because some of the locations where he could land are filling up. Just announced Connor Wegman, the 4th-ranked quarterback in the portal. He has committed to Houston, so he's coming to the Big 12. We get to deal with the Texas A&M quarterback. On top of that, of course, Darian Mensah, a guy that you and I both have liked, both have looked out for since the beginning of the season in case Julian Lewis didn't come. He committed to Duke. That one's a little confusing to me because I thought he was one of the better long-term options in the portal.
He needs to decommit and go to UNC now. Got to lean into that rivalry.
That would be awesome. Devin Dampier, the starting quarterback for New Mexico, has committed to Utah, replacing Isaac Wilson and Cam Rising's coming back, isn't he? Didn't he get another red shirt medical thing?
Yeah, there ain't no way. There is no way he's starting. Ain't no way.
And then the other big one, Thomas Castellanos, another one that we've looked at the beginning of the year, Boston College quarterback who started hot, then petered off. He's going to Florida State. I mean, that sounds like a good spot for him to take over for DJU next year. So the quarterback portal is hopping, but no word yet on our guy, Caden Salter, who could be a good target for Colorado. I think he's a good emergency plan. We need somebody in here just in case Julian Lewis isn't ready, just in case Julian Lewis gets hurt. You can't just assume that that's it. We don't want a Utah situation in here where they go to 4 quarterbacks. So I would love to have Caden Salter here to compete and say best man wins, see who's going to be it. And I think we'd be in a really good spot if that happens. So he's going to be somebody we're going to really have to look out for. David, as we wrap up, anything else that you want to discuss or talk about here?
I did, but I forgot about it. So guess not. I think we got a few more supers come in. So let's get to those.
Do we? I think that's one more. Yeah. So sorry. T. Will you be at the bowl game? I will not. Dave will, right?
Yeah, I think I'm in section 139. So
Okay.
you're in section 139. Come say hello. That should be fun. And yeah, man, I'm really glad I get to go. B-Watts asked me this, what do you expect from the game? And man, I'm sorry. I want to see Shedeur and Travis Hunter connect on a bunch of touchdowns. I want to see Shedeur throw the ball a whole bunch. So running backs, man, this just ain't your game, man. I want to see us throw it around.
What did we say before that Oklahoma State game? We said it's their last home game. It's their last hurrah for the Heisman. What was going to happen? They were going to throw the ball around the yard, and Travis was going to get force-fed the ball. I was at that game. The amount of times that Will Shepherd was wide open and Shedeur popped the ball to Travis Hunter to get those yards was absolutely insane to watch. It was fun, and it worked. But you could tell what was happening, and I don't know if Will Shepherd was that happy. He did not.
Well, they better give him some extra touchdowns in this game because he was the only one out of the starting wide receivers not to get one, I don't think. And no. Jimmy needs one.
Well, Jimmy's going to finally be back, I hope, too. So I have a feeling he's going to have a good game, too, because Shedeur's going to want to, help him with his draft stock as well. Okay, well, that's going to do it for us. Big reminder, I'm going to be interviewing Phillip Dukes tomorrow.
Yes, let's go.
Mountain. Make sure you guys all come in the chat. You're subscribed to my channel. If you're over on Dave's channel watching right now, come into the chat, ask questions. I'll do my best. Of course, if you really want your question answered, super chat us. But we're going to have some questions about the portal, recruiting, what he's going to expect from these recruits, what he's seen from these recruits, especially being in a lot of their backyards in Georgia. So, we're going to talk about all that tomorrow night, 6 p.m. on Buff's News Weekly channel. Dave, what do you got going on? You got anything coming up?
I got a stream either on Friday or Saturday with Unfair Sports, a really big college football channel. So be checking that out. And you know me, I'll be back with more videos probably tomorrow and Friday about the breaking news. And again, shout out to Elliot Arnold. If you see him on Twitter, just let him know. Let him know that he can make CU history. And I want to see this happen. I want to see our kicker wear 69.
We got one last quick little super chat. Georgia 345 linebacker, freshman D-line Jamal Jarrett enter the portal. Now go get him.
Ooh, that's a big boy. Yes, please.
You had me at Georgia. Oh, and here's a massive one at the last second, Dave. Got to get this. Diddy Truck, $20 to you. Save time and money on your next truck or storage nation rental ride with Diddy Truck. Diddy Truck is the only platform that allows consumers to do price comparisons on truck rentals, such as U-Haul, Penske, and Budget. Look, we just got sponsored, Dave.
Yeah, hey, let me speak to this really quickly, Diddy Truck, man. I wish I knew about y'all right before I moved from Colorado. Moving was an absolute pain in the booter, so to speak. And so, yeah, y'all go check out Diddy Truck if you're moving across country, right? Thanks for the $20.
Hey,
I thought it was Diddy, like no Diddy, like P Diddy. So
I
yeah.
just FYI, just in case, maybe moving the next couple years, reach out to me. I would love to use your guys' service. So reach out to me on YouTube or Twitter. Love to connect on that. Since Dave didn't use you, I'll try and connect with you as well. Okay, that's gonna do it. I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for coming in and having a lot of fun tonight, talking about so many things. Appreciate everybody again, and as always, Sco Buffs.
Go Buffs.